Morning, all. We're at 3 after. This is PQ call number 15, I believe. I'm correct. Anyway, it's 14 or 15. I can't remember. Let's start with some client updates. Maybe Zine, you want to kick us off?
Hey guys, so on Zeem front, we have been making good progress. We already implemented PR 67, so it's still under review, but we are almost there. We have also worked on implementing the lean spec PR so that we can consume the test formats, and that is also under review. Another PR that we are working on is integrating the signatures. And there is another PR that we are working on, which is basically syncing the parent chain. So these are the things that we are working on. Apart from that, one of the team members is working to basically integrate the KPI generator to the lean quick start. So I think we are making good progress on all the fronts.
Excellent. Thanks, Gajender. Ring team.
Yeah, similar front there. So glad that the first like DevNet 1 specs PR is merged last week, co-authored by Kajinder and Craig Papa. It was a big PR. So glad that was merged. So we are implementing that. Similarly, we are also so there's one open PR right now for the signature container that's already in the lean spec. There's a bit more updates that need to be done, but feel free to review the structure there. I think the structure is there, but like minor details, like instead of like fixed values, referring to the XMSS config, stuff like that. And yeah, so I think the next part is like signature integration. And just to add on, I have some concern around the infrastructure for DevNet 1. Basically, I think like we it looks like we need kurtosis or some form of that. We definitely can't do in a single machine environment like we did in DevNet 0. So yeah, I'm not so sure if we have any kind of like updates there, and um, yeah, at least from Beam team, like Jun and me can help out with the kurtosis stuff as well if there's work left to do.
Is kurtosis running on a single machine, or it allows us to kind of distribute on multiple entities?
I think the point of kurtosis is to have it. I mean, kurtosis generally runs on single machine. I'm not sure whether I have used kurtosis to run it on multiple machines. But in that sense, I think Lean Quick Start generally covers it. So if we are intending to go to a public DevNet for DevNet 1, I mean, obviously after we have done some rounds of say machine testing, then probably kurtosis might not be the right tool. I think we will need to integrate into some Ansible or something like that.
Because are you saying that your lean quick start works like it can do multiple machines as well?
No, the
Or you
Lean
maybe
Quick
should
Start doesn't do multiple machines, but we can integrate Ansible with it. And we
Right.
can say that, okay, if the Ansible is integrated, then it can spin up, so we can basically add Ansible command to create the processes on different machines. I'm not sure whether Kurtosis is able to do it, but we can get it done through Lean Quick Start for sure.
Cool.
But what we are targeting, I think initially we will just be targeting same machine for a couple of rounds, right? To make sure that we can all interop and consume each other's produced block and attestations. And then after, I think the next step could be that we can try to integrate Ansible and create these processes onto multiple machines.
Should that be DevNet 2? Like have DevNet 1 just be focused on the aggregation in a single machine, and DevNet 2 aggregation and factor in this multi-machine additional complexity that you're talking about?
Yeah, so there is no aggregation in DevNet 1. Maybe you are talking about something else, but yes. I guess we can do that, but I think it would be a good idea to anyway start building the infrastructure to spin it on different machines. I don't think it would be that complicated once you have Ansible integrated machines and basically Ansible configured to run commands on that, because the way Lean Quick Start works is that it basically takes the config from the supplied config that you have in validator config. So there is just one config that you have, and then it's able to generate all the files that you need to start the clients. And I think what we just need to do is basically have the appropriate IP of the machines that will be linked to each of these nodes. And I think we should be able to spin the nodes using Ansible as well. So I don't think that it would be that great of an effort that we can actually start trying it right now in DevNet 1.
Regarding the kurtosis, personally, I'm a fan of kurtosis and all the Docker-based tools. So I'm quite suspicious about the shell script-based tool. To my understanding, Lean Quick Start also supports Docker, but it's all written in shell script, which think it's not scalable in my point of view. So what if we bring a kurtosis package in a couple of weeks, and then we can discuss about the feasibility of those tools later on.
We can do that, but I think it will be easy to also wrap the shell script for Lean Quick Start in a Docker itself. So, I mean, if that is the entire point, but any case, this script is to orchestrize containers, right? So I'm not sure it actually needs to be that scalable, but in any case, we can wrap it up in a Docker container as well.
Maybe clean team. Camille, you have updates that you would like to touch on?
Yeah, maybe smoothly discussing also regarding the deployment. Yeah, on our side, we were experimenting with Shadow. So we managed actually to spin up a network of 256 clean nodes of DevNet 0 version. Yeah, we're trying to scale it to like 1,000 nodes. Yeah, so for 256 it actually works fine. For 512 we noticed some. I'm not even sure like whether it's most likely it's issue on clean side, but yeah, for some reason the head stops growing. Yeah, we observed some issues with vote messages, so trying to fix this. Yeah, maybe just temporarily, yeah, something like Shadow might be a workaround, but it's not a perfect thing, I think, for this kind of deployments. Because, for example, in Shadow, if we, for example, simulate signature signing or signature verification from the perspective of Shadow, it kind of happens instantaneously. So, like pretends that it only took 0 milliseconds. If we just take a timestamp before verification and after, it will return the same timestamp, for example. That's kind of like how the shadow works, because it's mostly was developed for networking. But anyway, we're just trying to do some experiments there. Again, speaking about experiments, also we quickly just updated our beam chain simulator with WFR gossip sub because it was just not very complicated. I can maybe even share the graph somewhere. Yeah, maybe after I stop reporting. We noticed some minor improvement with WFR gossip comparing to gossip sub. Still not as performant as grid, but yeah, it was interesting to see that. Also, I contacted Thomas, who's presenting Lean P2P in Cambridge. He said that it makes sense to also test Zoom. They recently published a new article, so yeah, we'll try to introduce this into Beam simulator as well. And finally, going to the Clean itself, not much development for the past week. Yeah, we just introduced a lot of metrics with the thanks from Katya. So that's I think that's I think the only development item that we had during the week. Yeah, that's all from my side. Thanks.
Thanks, Camille. Mahir, Lantern update.
Thanks, Will. Hi, everyone. So basically last week I was trying to work with Shadow. But last week I implemented Gossip Sub in Sealy P2P, and I was trying to get Shadow running so I could like verify if, like the Interop test for passing with Go P2P and Rust P2P. But I ran into some issues building Shadow on my computer because I think it only supports Linux. So I tried using a Docker container, but still had some dependency issues. So because of time, I actually ended up getting a different route. So I ended up actually implementing the DevNet 0 specs and in an actual dedicated repo. So like the link I shared, that's like the repo of Lantern, which is a C implementation. I think the core implementation is done. Basically, at the moment, I'm trying to use Ream Team's local PQ DevNet repo to run the DevNet 0 locally and basically enable trace logs and iron out some of the connection issues that are happening. So I'm just making iterative progress there. Basically, once Interop is working, I'll be focusing on implementing PR67 for DevNet 1. And then focusing on bindings for the signature library. That's pretty much the update from my side. Yep.
Camille. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mahir.
Yeah, thanks. I just Mihir was mentioning that he was struggling with running Shadow in his environment. Yeah, we also went through that. I tried everything that I could to actually test it on my MacBook, but even in Docker or anywhere, it was not working. So the only way it was working is when we were testing this in IMD 64 Linux environment. So yeah, keep this in mind. And also for Gossip Sub, when you will be testing, please also not check the configurations for the Gossip Sub that we have for the DevNet 0, because in Cambridge we were, as you probably remember, was struggling with mostly configuring Gossip Sub properly. On our side, we also kind of had Gossip Sub compatible with Rust P2P for a very long time, but when we actually tried to interop with Zim and Rim, there was some configurations issue which we needed to fix. I'm just saying that if something is working in interop tests for libp2p, it's not like 100% sure that it will work in DevNet 0. So just keep in mind this configuration thing.
Yep. Sounds good. Thanks. And I guess just a follow up on that, is the Gossip Sub configuration that is currently in Lean spec, is that was that changed in Cambridge? I can definitely look at the the configuration parameters that we used in Ream, Zeem, and Clean, and then use those rather than lean spec. But yeah.
I don't remember, to be honest. Yeah, maybe you can check to be 100% sure, like Ream, Zeem, or Clean.
Okay.
Source code here.
Thanks.
But yeah, probably no changes. Yeah.
Or no, in the chat, no changes as far as he knows to the gossip sub spec. Speaking of specs, any updates on specs? Tomas, I saw you just merged a big PR yesterday, I believe. Test vectors.
Yeah, yeah, I can give like a quick update. So in general, in the lean spec, we merged like a couple of small PRs in the last week to fix some bugs and stuff. This is quite good because we can see a very nice dynamic with a lot of people from various client teams submitting some PRs to fix bugs, to rearrange stuff, and all of this. We have also a nice movement with small PRs being merged very frequently with small iterations. So that is good to see. And also, yeah, yesterday I merged this very big PR from Felipe. This is a very good work. So that now we have some test vectors inspired by the execution spec stuff and the consensus learnings that we had in the past. If Felipe wants to say a word, this is he can. But briefly, this is a way for client teams to consume these test vectors and have a very clear testing framework for them to test against the Python spec. Up to now, we had just very basic Python tests that were not okay to be consumed by client teams, but now we have a much more structured way for client team to consume the tests. So now my work will be to use this framework for all the tests progressively. So for example, I will first try to replace all of the fork choice tests by their equivalent with test vectors. And then, of course, we can iterate on the design there. If you have some concern, comments, improvement, don't hesitate to submit issues or PRs on the repo. But this is a very, very good base. The PR was very big, and again, that this learned from all of the past that we had in Ethereum with execution and consensus spec. So that is very good, very modern, very Pythonic and stuff. So yeah, this is a very good work, very good PR, and I hope that from there we will be able to iterate over there. So yeah, if Felipe wants to say a word about this, please feel free to. The floor is yours.
Yeah, you covered it pretty well. I implemented some of the framework that for test vector generation that we've learned from execution specs, and we actually just finished merging the testing framework with the specs on the execution side. And so it looks very much like this. There was a lot of inspiration from this last week where we've been merging these PRs or these repositories. And so, yeah, setting it up as a package. And if you haven't taken a look at the PR yet, I hope it's pretty straightforward. I think the UV workspace allows us to run these commands from the root. And yeah, I think this is like a pretty solid base, but it's definitely going to need to be built upon, and it'll take a lot of contributions from everybody to kind of find the right test vectors, the right fixtures to generate and all that. But we have a pretty solid base going there at the moment.
Fantastic. Nice work, both of you. Any other spec related or research related things?
Yeah, I want to talk about PR 92, which is about which is the PR I think Varun put up to basically structure the signature. My question is, why do we need it? What are the benefits I think we get out of it? Because obviously this adds a little bit of tech depth into the entire thing, and the breaking of the abstraction layer of, the spec needing to know what the signature exactly look like.
So maybe I can answer that question. So to my understanding, the signature generation is not deterministic in hash6. So the randomness value, which is raw in the signature container, is quite important to in the debugging context, I think. So yeah,
It's
so
deterministic, right?
so
So signing in hashtag is deterministic. Like we de-randomized it with some PR
okay.
a while ago. It's like signatures are not unique, but that's a different thing. I'm not sure what you need. Like you can have like the scheme is deterministic, but the signatures are not unique. I'm not sure what you need here, but I'm strongly against exposing details of how the signature looks like to the outside. So I think the signature should just be some object that you don't care about how it looks inside.
Okay, thanks for correcting me. Okay.
Yeah, if that's the case, then I think we should collapse the signature structure back to bytes. But just quick update. So from Benedict's answer earlier today, the signature size is going to go down from 4,000 down to 3,100 again, because originally so from the workshop we were kind of like expecting that the signature size will go up, but since the code there, like basically the changes there are not there yet, so I think we'll have to revert and go back to like 3,100 bytes.
So I think the right thing to be done is that instead of having that as a byte vector of 4,000, we can just have it as a list of 4,000, which would basically allow for any of the other changes that can happen in near future.
Yeah, on that though, do we actually need that, since like each change is a fork anyway, and we're not building on previous signatures, so I mean like previous blocks from past definites, if you know what I mean.
Right. I mean, so I guess we can just have 3,000 byte vector as well. So I'm not really opposed to that. But I mean, if there are many other changes coming in, basically it would sort of decouple the spec and the signature library with that regard. But I am fine with a fixed size 3,000 byte signature as well. But in any case, when we move to aggregation, that would anyway change. So yeah, whatever is most convenient.
Can I share the screen like 1 second? I think. Let me try to share.
Of course.
Let me try to share this. So yeah, can you see the screen?
Yep.
I think that in the XMSS folder inside the lean spec in Python, I didn't update with the last stuff that we discussed after Cambridge, so there is a bit of tech depth when compared to the Rust repo. That here we have the status before Cambridge, but I guess Benedict, please correct me if I am wrong, but I guess that the signature object should be this one at the end, right? Where we have the path, the randomness, and the hashes, right?
Yes, I think so. This is true. I'm not sure if like the rest of the spec needs to know these details. Like, sure, the part that specifies how you verify signatures needs to know that, but The rest of the spec should just say verify signature and call this in a black box way without opening it up.
Yeah. Yeah, but
This
yeah.
is a good implementation, but yes, I agree that rest of the spec can just delete as opaque bytes.
Yeah, because in Rust, so that is the equivalent that we have in Rust, where execute exactly the same fields. So the path, row, and hashes, but we have this derivation of serialize and deserialize, so we can just transform that into bytes, and this is okay, right? So we just need bytes at the end. That is correct?
Good.
Okay, so but I'm not sure that, in fact, like the PR that you open the number 9.2, if this is not just basically like a kind of a copy and paste of this, right? Or some kind of stuff related to this, no? Because I think that you have exactly the same field inside what you mentioned in this PR, right?
Yeah. So this needs to be changed based on making it opaque, so we won't have this structure anymore. But just for what it's worth, when we opened the PR, we had this structure, we had to create a mirror of it because this is not SSC compatible, even in the So that's why we have that middle ground. But then if we are treating it as opaque, then we should get rid of the entire structure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, here, like in the repo, I have put like the XMSS spec with all of the detail there to have like a mirror of the Rust spec. But in the end, you never need this. Like you can completely forget this XMSS folder. Almost like the only thing that we need to spec is the verifying of the signature, but the rest you can completely forget. Like no need to take care about the hypercube encoding details. The only reason why I have put like the XMSS spec is just for us to be able to run some small tests, be able to tweak a bit the parameters, check what we are doing. But as a client teams, you don't need this one. So you can just treat that as some opaque stuff, right?
Maybe we can have this as a separate Python library, and
Yeah,
that is
yeah, of
something
course,
that integrated in the spec.
Yeah. My goal also was, for example, here, if you check in the subspec, you have SSZ, and this is not good to have SSZ inside the lean repo because this is just a separate stuff. Right now, I keep that here as convenient stuff because we frequently change the stuff and the types and the way we are doing Pythonic things. So I just keep that for convenience. Same for XMSS, but in the future, I agree that we will be able to create some sub repo for small part of this stuff that are not meant to be in the final spec repo. Yeah.
Any other spec related updates and or research?
You just want to update that Akshar from Zeem team will be doing a PR to add the signing and verify the signature. So yeah, this is something on Zeem's plate, and we are working on it.
You mean in Zig or in the Python repo?
In the specs, so that right now the PR61 had signatures which are 0 bytes, but we want to put in the actual signatures and verification over there. So basically, we will also implement it. So in both cases, yes.
You have like again in the XMSS folder, you already have like the verify algorithm, so you don't need to re-implement it if this is your point.
Right. So we'll use it from what is already there. If so, from the conversation that I heard, that if that needs to be refreshed,
Not sure about the verify. I don't think that the verify function need to be refreshed. Don't think so.
But we'll also need to add the signing function as well, because
Yeah, the signing need to be refreshed, not redone, but refresh. So we can check
Right.
like the very last PRs of the Rust repo and just mirror that in the Python spec. But this is just a refresh, not a full redone.
Right. So who would be doing that?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Just double checking, Kajinder. So the upcoming lean spec PR, that's gonna just focus on just integrating the sign and verify function from the XMSS, right? And no other like changes
Right.
to the like
So
state transition function.
yeah. So I think there will be two PRs where one Toma or someone else would basically refresh the XMSS code, and if there is any refreshes to be made, and yeah, the other PR would just be to use those, and instead of now having 0 signatures, we will have actual signatures and do the actual verification.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Of course, I can do the refresh also. Like there is no problem on that. But yeah, I forgot to ask Benedict, but I wanted to check the amount of stuff that we will need to modify again in the future, like to avoid doing many refresh, but just one refresh. So, but I think that right now we are quite stable on the change that we want to make, excepting like the new encoding scheme, but this is not something that will be done very soon. So I think that in terms of new feature after Cambridge, we are quite good. No?
Yeah.
So we don't even need refresh if the current code is correct and accurate, right? So if it works, then basically, refresh can come later on as well.
Yeah, also. Yeah.
I think what is important is that the interface, like the API of it, is consistent with the Rust repo, like the API change that we made after this top bottom tree traversal thing.
Yeah, that is not done in the Python. I need to do that. This is the only thing that I need to refresh.
In the chat, Mahir's asking, for the test vectors in the lean spec, will the SSZ snappy encoded objects be in scope for the future, for different message types, such as those submitted via request, response, and gossip sub? I think the consensus specs only generates tests for SSZ and beacon chain state transition functions.
Let me check.
I think just giving my 2 cents, we should add, because while deving for Lotsa, we had this come across few issues with decoding the request response messages. So, I mean, it would always be helpful to have a spec for it where everyone can just verify.
Yeah, we
Yep.
can. Yeah.
Yep, sounds good. Yep.
Great. I saw you closed a number of issues in the PM repo last night. Thank you. I don't know if there's any quick update that you wanted to give on that.
Yeah, sure. It's very housekeeping. Nothing that we haven't talked about. But if you guys want to have a look, like there's a board that we used like some months ago to track of things. So I just went through all the tasks for PQ DevNet 0, and it looks like all of them are closed off. So I closed that milestone already. And for PQ DevNet ones, there were some stuff that were out of places, so I just reorganized them. But yeah, so mainly again, like if you look at the list in the board right now, it's mostly just the signature specs, verifying the signature compatibility, test vectors, and then the rest is basically just the infrastructure stuff to run the DevNet one. Yeah, that's it.
And shout out to O for the DevNet 0 bootstrapping lean consensus summary that he put together. Really nice little document. Any other updates? Questions? Maybe we'll start a section of the call called Will Learns in Public, and I can just like ask all my questions that I'm confused about. Some of the tooling, I would just love to like get a little better sense of if someone could kind of like left curve for me. Okay, we talked about kurtosis, Ansible, Lean Quick Start, and Shadow, the network simulator. Like, how do I understand better as someone that's not technical, like when these are being used, is there a desired path? Are we currently using one and the goal is to like try to graduate to another set, or are they used for different types of analysis and simulation?
I can maybe briefly tell about Shadow just to start. Yeah, it's useful when we need to kind of model the networks with different latency, bandwidth, or simulate packet losses and have just reproducible environment so that, yeah, every time we have basically the same tests. I mean, even the hashes of the blocks will be the same every time. So it's useful sometimes to just, if we had some bug, to kind of reproduce exactly the scenario that led to this bug. Yeah, but it's kind of it's realistic in network sense, but not super realistic in terms of performance. As I said, like for example, I don't know, snark verification or signature verification would look like kind of instantaneous operation, like it kind of would from Shadow perspective, it will happen like just in 0 milliseconds. So yeah, just to keep this in mind. So it's mostly for networking tests. Yeah.
Thanks,
I
Phil.
guess like yeah, I guess I can add to the like Ansible stuff. So basically, like when we look back at DevNet 0, right? What we wanted to test is basically having 3 clients talk to each other, and no signatures or anything like that. So it doesn't really take a lot of resources or performance from your laptop. So we were able to do it on a single laptop, right? And by doing it in a single laptop, it's easy because you can just basically like write some simple script, say that, hey, spin up 2 Zeem clients, 2 Ream clients, 2 Clean clients, and basically make it talk to each other within the same machine. Now, the thing gets more complicated when we want to get into testing a distributed system. And what that means is that when you start to want to test having different machines that might be close together or might be distributed across the globe, and you want them to talk to each other, then before you're actually able to test, you have to set up the machine, right? You have to set up the OS, right? Mac or Linux or whatever. Then you have to install all the software. You have to download the code and so on and so on, and configure everything, right, before you can start it up. And so in order to do that, usually if you're going to do it manually, then you can imagine that that's going to be like really painful work, because then some machines break down, some machines don't. So the way that a more natural way to do it these days is if I think they used to call it infrastructure as code. So basically you turn all this infrastructure provisioning into code, and then you basically automate them so that you have maybe a single machine that coordinates everything, right? Orchestrating all this. And Ansible is one of the tools that you use to set up machines. So basically install the OS, install all the programs that you need, right? And I think that's the limitation of Ansible, that is mostly to configure the machine. But if you want to actually like run the nodes and set all the parameters in there and make sure that they spin up at roughly the same time, spin down at roughly the same time, and all that, then you need another coordination tool. Usually that is Kubernetes in the non Ethereum, non-crypto world. But because like there are some specific behaviors that you want from running a blockchain service, so kurtosis is kind of like developed to do exactly that. So it would actually like generate it would help coordinate key generation, setting up all the clients, and actually making sure that all of them have the same genesis so that they all run at the same time. So in short, Ansible is the typical way to set up the machines across like multiple machines, and then you have kurtosis, which actually coordinates setting up an actual like testnet.
That is what Lean Quickstart already does, and if you add Ansible to it, that is what it would actually do. Or you can also integrate Shadow on it. But I mean, this is not really a debate between kurtosis or not. I find kurtosis to be a bit heavy and clunky, but I think that is generally useful when we have execution clients. Until we don't have execution clients, till the point we have execution clients, I think spending time into kurtosis is like not required. But sure, I guess at some point we'll have to jump for sure.
Amazing. Thank you all very much. That was really helpful. All right. I will try to come armed with one naive left curve question I need answered each week. That will be our little learning session for me. All right. Anything else? Cool. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for joining.
Thanks.
Well, guys.
Will.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you, bye.